two Big Ten teams in the college football playoff. Yes, Michigan and Ohio State both received invites to get into the college football playoff invitational to try to take home a national championship. Look, this is big for the Big Ten Conference. Both the Wolverines and the Buckeyes were really good teams all year long. And for them to get into the playoff, have two Big Ten teams as compared to one SEC team, I think is a big victory for the Big Ten. Now, kind of looking early at some of these matchups, I think Michigan matches up favorably pretty well against TCU. Of course, TCU, so, when you got a guy like Sonny Dykes coaching, this is a team that wants to get after it offensively. So I think Michigan is going to be tested on defense. Okay, you can say what you want about TCU. Okay, they probably deserved to be in the playoff. And they're sitting here with a chance to prove everybody wrong for people that said Alabama should have been in. Maybe Tennessee should have been in the playoff. These two lost teams, it's a chance for TCU, us against the world mentality. Now, of course, TCU is going to have to buckle up and play big boy Big Ten football on defense. Because you know what Michigan wants to do. Michigan's going to run it. They're going to run it. They're going to try to be physical. I think that's the game plan for Michigan kind of coming into this game. And I know these games are a long ways away right now, and kind of conjecturing what might happen is kind of a fool's errand sometimes, because obviously a lot of things can change in the lead up to some of these bowl games with the long wait. But I honestly believe the way Donovan Edwards is playing right now and the way this offensive line is pushing other teams on the other side of the line of scrimmage, that's, I think, Michigan's going to be Michigan's approach in this game plan. What can we do? What matchups can we take advantage of going down the field against this TCU defense? I think that's where Michigan wants to game plan. That's where Michigan wants to be. Can they get after Max Duggan? That's going to be a big question. They got some good stuff going on. TCU does in the running game as well. Michigan's the heavy favorite. The pressure is on Michigan. Okay, for TCU, no one expected you to be here at the beginning of the season. How does Michigan handle those expectations going into this game? Look, TCU is definitely not a pushover. TCU is a good team. TCU is a solid football team. And if Michigan just thinks, we got to play our game, we got to run the ball well, JJ's got to make a few throws, defense got to get after it just a couple of times, you might get beat by TCU. Okay, because what if TCU gets up by a couple of scores? What if they get up by 14? What if they get up by 17? Is Michigan going to continue to run the football? I think for Michigan to be able to win a national championship, J.J. McCarthy is going to have to be a big-time piece of this offense. He's going to have to make throws. Semifinal and then the national championship, should they get there. Ohio State gets into the college football playoff because you got the flub from the USC Trojans. Okay, Ohio State, a couple of weeks ago, you wanted Ryan Day somewhere else besides Columbus, Ohio. And you kind of were down in the dumps. Now, all of a sudden, it's us against the world. Let's go, Ryan Day. Let's pick it up and let's go win a national championship. It's not going to be easy because you got to face the Georgia Bulldogs in their backyard. We know how good Georgia is. Georgia has been the best team in the country the past 2 or 3 seasons. And here's the one thing I'm looking at early when I look at this matchup in the Peach Bowl. Okay, Ohio State, we know where your weakness is. Okay, we know when you can't run the football, you're one of the problems. We know you have problems being physical and defending the run. It's the trenches. And Georgia, historically, kind of in this run, has been a good team, physical team in the trenches. Of course, they don't have all those studs that they had on defense last season. Ask Michigan about those guys. But that's the big question for me. Can Ohio State establish some running game? What are we going to see health-wise with Mayan Williams? What are we going to see health-wise with Travion Henderson? The big thing I want to see about Ohio State, get these guys healthy. If you get healthy against Georgia and you have a full-strength versus full-strength type of game, I think you could have one of the best games we've seen, because these playoff games in years past haven't really been that great. There's been a lot of blowouts in these college football playoff semifinals, and Ohio State is really trying to avoid that. Look, I think their defense is going to be tested. Stetson Bennett has gotten better, I think, over time at Georgia, like a fine wine, baby. There's a lot going into this where I want some questions answered. Okay, if I'm the Ohio State Buckeyes. And I don't know if I'm going to get those questions answered. So that remains to be seen. What's going to happen health-wise? What's going to happen on the defensive side of the football? Can Ohio State hang with the Georgia Bulldogs? It's going to be fun. I'm loving having two Big Ten teams in the college football playoff vying after it for a national championship. And you bet your butt this guy wants to see a Michigan-Ohio State rematch for all the damn marbles in the national championship game.